You know what happens every single time I speak at a workshop or host a webinar? The Q&A portion always runs long. And it's usually because you all have such great questions about your websites. It's actually my favorite part of any presentation that I give. Today, I'm going to tackle the most frequently asked questions that typically come up on consultation calls, at workshops, or land in my inbox. And we're going to cover everything from pricing to if you need a blog to what should be on your homepage. All of these website decisions that keep you up at night wondering if you've made the right choice for your business. And instead of giving that quick answer that I usually have to do at these events, I'm going to try and do a deep dive so that you can make the right decision for your small business. By the end of today's episode, you'll have clear guidance on the website questions I hear most often, as well as practical steps to implement what makes the most sense for your specific small business. Let's get into it. Welcome to Website Design Made Simple, the podcast for busy small business owners who want a high-performing website that converts and sells their offers, even while they're sleeping. Because you deserve to have a strategic and beautiful website that truly represents your brand and positions you as the expert that you are. I'm your host, Jenny B., web designer and creative director at Jenny B Designs, where we believe that your website is the one thing that makes you sales and builds your brand at the same time. Ready to say goodbye to a website that you're embarrassed to share? And hello to a money-making, personality-packed powerhouse? Let's head into today's episode. Hello, welcome back to the podcast. I'm so excited that you're here. Today's going to be a really fun episode. Lots of different topics that we're going to chat about, but it should really give you some clear guidance on how to make your website work even better for you. Quick intro if you haven't already met, I'm Jenny B and I own Jenny B Designs. We're a brand and web design studio, and I truly am passionate about helping small business owners just like you create a beautiful, but more importantly, strategic online presence, a website that attracts your ideal clients and makes you money. And I love to do it in the most simplest way as possible. Let's get into the episode. I have 10 different questions for you that I get asked quite frequently, and I figured I'd just put together this episode. The first one is a question that I find there's a lot of controversy around, and this is something that probably 99% of my clients always ask me. And it is, should I list my pricing on my website? Let's discuss, shall we? I am a firm believer in listing your prices on your website. When someone comes to your website, they are doing a deep dive. They're getting to know you and the business, your values, the services you provide, and if you are the right fit to solve the problems that this potential client has. And part of the decision-making process is if they align in your messaging, the words that you're sharing, the services that you're offering, and the investment that your services are at. Today, everyone is busy. We all are looking to make things happen. And transparency is worth its weight in gold. I truly believe that when someone comes to your website, you want to include the price of your services, or at least a starting at price or a range, perhaps, if you do a proposal type process with your business. But you want to give your potential client a starting at range or a ballpark so that they understand before they get on that consultation call or before they reach out what the investment is to work with you. Because there is nothing worse than getting on a consultation call with someone, connecting with them, learning about their business, spending time both on your part and your potential client's part, and then getting to the part of the call where you talk about investment. And there is a mismatch there. It's uncomfortable for both parties, and you've just wasted everyone's time. I think it is so important these days to be authentic and transparent and to share what it is going to look like to work with someone. Not to mention the fact that if you go to a website and you don't see an investment listed, where does your brain go? For me and for a lot of people, we immediately think that the investment is going to be too high. And sometimes they might not even reach out because of that, because there's nothing there and they just take you out of the equation. I was looking for some services and I went to 4 different websites, and 2 of them didn't list prices and the other 2 had listed prices. They were both varying degrees. And I actually reached out and connected with only the one that had the more expensive investment to it because I resonated with the messaging. I didn't even bother connecting with the two that didn't have their investment. I just felt as though it was just a waste of time and I could get going with this person who I knew more about them. I knew what the investment was, what their messaging was, and I felt like we could just get started then and there. So, not having your pricing on your website, I believe, could be turning people away. And it is also wasting people's time. That is my firm belief. And like I said, it doesn't have to be your exact pricing, but I think you should have at least a starting at range, or my clients typically spend range. Oh, okay. That was a long answer. I promise the rest of these I'm going to run through them a little bit quicker. But pricing, I think, is one of the most important things that you need to address on your website. Second question, here it is. How often should I really be updating my website? And what should you prioritize when you do? I believe that you should be looking at your website at least once a month. And by looking at, I just mean going to the most important pages. The most important page is probably your contact page. Checking your contact forms, making sure that those inquiries are getting to your inbox. That's something that you should be doing every month. As well, just taking a cursory glance out of every page on your website and making sure it has the updated information and has your most current pricing, as we just discussed. The messaging, the services that you offer matches in priority there on your website. That's what you should be doing once a month. And if you have a WordPress website, there are some things that need to happen behind the scenes, such as updating plugins and software. That you should be doing at least every month. But as far as updating content and changing your messaging and anything more in depth, I think at least once a quarter, you should sit down and think about what is the priority in your business? What are you focused on? For example, if you are a coach and you have a one-on-one coaching program and you have a group coaching program, maybe in the upcoming quarter, your focus is really on that group program. Look at your website from that lens and make sure that it aligns with that. All your messaging, all your calls to action are pointing people towards that group program. Every quarter, it's important to look at what is the goal for this quarter and making sure that your website aligns with that. And as far as doing all of the other things, such as a website audit and your messaging and updating imagery and things like that, I think once a year, it's good to do an audit and to spend some time updating what you need to update, including those images, because it's fast how time goes by and how those images start to look outdated. At least once a year, making sure that you're doing a thorough website audit and updating all the pages on your website. Number 3, do I need a blog for my service-based business website? I believe that a blog is a really good thing to have. I don't think that it is the make or break. If you are not able to commit to being consistent with posting content, then I don't think that it's necessary to force yourself to do this. However, that said, a blog does many things. For one, it allows you to build your thought leadership, to create content around your area of expertise. And when you are creating that content, you are able to put a focus on keywords to allow yourselves to be found more in search engines as well as AI search engines. And when you do this, when you are sharing content, you are able to be found more on Google. As well, you are sharing out your thoughts, creating that thought leadership, as well as educating potential clients. I think the benefits outweigh the cons. And if you are able to, a blog is a really important piece of a service-based business website. That's why for all my builds, we do have a blog there. And most of the times I'll build it and I will share with my clients, don't worry about it now, but when you are ready to start writing content for your website, it is there for you to optimize. Number 4, website forms versus direct contact info, just having someone send you an email. Which converts better for small businesses? I'm going to tell you that what converts better is neither of those. What converts better is when you actually can schedule an appointment right from your contact page. Let's take a step back. Should you have your email address or a website form? If you are deciding between the two, I think that you should absolutely have a website form. But here's a caveat. You should also have your email address on that contact page. Quick question. Are you frustrated with your website? Not sure why it isn't converting? I would love to help. That's why I offer my website coaching calls. In just 50 minutes, we'll uncover what's holding your site back and create a plan to fix it. Whether you need help with design, content, or strategy, I'll give you the clear steps to move forward. Click the link in the show notes to book your coaching call today, and let's make your website your best marketing tool. Now back to the episode. There's nothing worse than wanting to reach out to someone, but not wanting to fill out their form because perhaps I don't want to inquire about services. Maybe I want to ask the person to be a guest on my podcast. Maybe I have a speaking opportunity. Maybe there's just a question I want to ask them. I don't want to have to fill out a form to just get in contact with them. On the flip side, when you are wanting to work with someone is filling out your inquiry form, there might be a few questions that you want to know before you get on that consultation call. I suggest having both a website form and an email on that contact page. However, let's go back. What I think works even better and converts even better is having a scheduler right on that page. Having people be able to schedule that consultation call immediately without having to fill out a form and going back and forth to schedule the appointment. That reduces the friction and increases the amount of conversions that you have from that contact page. So a direct appointment scheduler is best, and secondary to that would be a website form with your email listed on that page. Number 5, my website is slow. What do I do? Slow websites can cause a lot of problems. We are impatient. It used to be we would come to a homepage and we had 3 seconds or less to capture someone's attention. It's gone down. I want to say it's like 1 second or less right now. We're all busy people, and if you're sitting there waiting for your website to load and it's taking 4 or 5 seconds, that's valuable time wasted, and most likely someone's not going to wait. If you are working with a website builder that has hosting included, and by this I mean a Squarespace or a Showit or a Wix, they do the hosting for you. You can reach out to them and see if they can help you. Now, if you have a WordPress website, then that's another story. The easiest way to get good speed for a WordPress website is to have really good hosting. And this comes down to who are you hosting your website with. One of my preferred hosts is ICDsoft. I've used them for 10 plus years. I find that they are reliable, they are speedy, they have great customer service, and they aren't too expensive. They've been a great solution for my clients. That's the first piece. You need to have really good website hosting. And then the second piece is making sure that all your images are reduced, that you don't have anything too large on your website, that you're not hosting a lot of videos on your website, and everything is made to be optimized as small as possible. There are tools like TinyPNG Online where you can drop your photo in there and it will shrink it up. Same goes for video tools out there. Make sure whatever you're putting on your website as far as media is as small as possible. And of course, there are plugins that you can download to help speed up your website as well. But I think that if you're on a WordPress website, the first place to start is to make sure you have quality hosting. Number 6, what actually needs to be above the fold in 2025? Has it changed? What's required above the fold in 2025 is the same as it's been probably since I started doing this over 10 years ago. You want to make it abundantly clear in easy to understand words what you do, how you help make someone's life better, and how they can do business with you, how they can get in touch, how do they take the next step, call to action. That needs to be immediately clear as soon as someone lands on your website, as well as have an image that shares the benefits someone will receive when they work with you. And I use this example a lot for a dentist. A lot of times, dentist websites, you will see someone sitting in a dentist chair when you land on their website. However, what you want to see is someone out in the world having fun outside, smiling with their big, white, straight teeth. That is the benefit of going to the dentist. That's what someone should be seeing when they land on this hero section above the fold. And of course, You also need streamlined navigation, which means you need to be really clear on your navigation options and have them as few as possible. I like to say 5 items or less. When someone lands, they read what you can do, how you can help them. There's a call to action, and the navigation really guides them as they go through your website to take the first step in your sales process. It hasn't changed and it's stayed the same. And it's probably one of the most important pieces of a website. So if you haven't checked your homepage landing in a while, it might be time. Number 7, mobile first design. What does that mean? How do I know my website is mobile friendly? People ask this a lot, even in this day and age. And what it really means is that when someone is on their phone, they can quickly access the information that they need, and they are not distracted with things that they don't need. When someone comes to your website on their phone, they're in a different headspace. They're there to get answers. They're not there to scroll through your pages to see some beautiful imagery, to read everything that they possibly can and then take action. They're there to read what they need to read and to know how to take action. And having a mobile first design truly means that you've optimized it for this experience when someone's on their phone. For my designs, this means a lot of times I like to hide some imagery on the mobile side. I like to make sure that the navigation is really clean and simple. I've got hamburgers, but if it's possible to just have my navigation items listed there, whatever I can do to make it more easily accessible for the visitor to get to where they want to go. That's what it means. It also means that you can read the words. The font isn't too small. The buttons are easily pressed. There's not text overlapping images or buttons overlapping text. Just making it really clean and simple. What you can do is look at your phone and go to your website and just make sure that the user experience is simple and clean. And ask yourself, is there anything that you can remove? Number 8, this is website maintenance and care. Can I do my own website maintenance? And this mostly refers to people who have WordPress websites. WordPress websites are built with a lot of little pieces of software called plugins on the back end, and they require the need to be updated so that they are safe from vulnerabilities and conflicts, and that everything is working in harmony on the back end of the website. This is something that you need to make sure that you are doing quite regularly, and you know what to do if something goes wrong. A lot of my clients prefer me to do the care and maintenance, and I love doing this. I make sure that I'm updating everything for them. I'm keeping track of if their site is up or down, making sure that there's no malware, they're not under attack, anything like that. If you choose to do it yourself, I think this is absolutely possible, but you just need to know what to do. You need to know how to update plugins, and more importantly, you need to know what to do if it's not working, if it doesn't work right. And what that means is, do you know how to access a backup? Do you know how to roll to a backup to the last point that your website was working? If you know how to do that, then I think that you can handle the care and maintenance of your website by yourself. But if it's something that you don't want to spend your time on and you'd rather have someone keep a watchful eye over your website, then I highly suggest working with someone like myself, caring for your WordPress website. Typically, when you do that, then you have a direct contact with a website designer who can help you with website updates or design updates. And it's really nice to have a designer in your back pocket for whenever you might need it. Number 9, how to know if your website is actually converting. How do I know? I'm not a data expert. I'm just a small business owner. How do I know if my website is actually working? Conversions are simply the number of people who take the action that you want them to take on your website out of how many people have come to your website. For most small businesses, the action that we want them to take is to fill out that inquiry form or to get on your email list. All you have to do is find out how many people came to your website in a period of time. I like to look at it over a month, and then count how many people actually filled out that form or signed up for the newsletter. Divide the two, and you have your conversion rate. Typically, I would say about a 3% conversion rate is really good. Thinking about who's coming to your website and how many people are actually taking that action. That's the easy way to know if your website's actually converting. Take a count. If you have people coming to your website and not taking the action, then there might be something going wrong. Maybe the messaging is off. Maybe the user journey isn't there. Maybe there are not enough calls to action. But it's really asking yourself, are people taking the action that they want them to take? And how many people are taking that actual action? I have a whole episode about converting that I'll link below if you want to go more in depth on how to know if your website is making conversions. And finally, number 10, do I need custom brand photos or can I just use stock? Here is my truth. I believe every small business needs a little bit of custom brand photography. It's perfectly fine to use stock photos. However, today in 2025, people want to form an emotional connection with you and your brand. And the way to do that is through messaging that speaks to them, as well as imagery that forms that connection. And nothing speaks louder than imagery with people. I adore seeing a small business owner on their website, a picture of them or a picture of them working with the team. I at least want to see one picture of the person behind the business. And you want this, of course, to be photographed of you, not a stock image. And so that is why I love to have personal brand photography. I also like to use brand photography for those filler images. And I like it to be about you. For example, on my website, I like having branded filler images. I have a couple of images of me in my hands with my podcast mic. I have me on an iPad. There's one when I'm writing on a piece of paper. You can just see what I'm writing in my hands. Another one, I have it down from my shoulders up and I'm looking far away. I'm not looking at the camera. And I have that as a filler. Thinking about how you can use custom filler images for your website. It is 100% worth it to have some personal brand photos taken for your small business. If you don't have any, I suggest keeping an eye open for when photographers have mini shoots. Mini shoots are a great way to get your toe dipped into the brand photography waters because I understand not all of us want to spend 5 hours doing a personalized brand shoot. But if you can get in with a photographer for a 20-minute, 40-minute session, you can come out with a handful of images that you can use on your website and then start to expand on your collection. So if possible, I would suggest investing in personal brand photography. And those were my 10 top asked questions that I get. I hope this was helpful. And if there is a question that you're finding that you might come to mind when you think about small businesses, shoot me an email. I'd love to hear from you so that I can add that question to my next podcast episode when I do my next FAQ and answer some frequently asked questions. And if you are looking for some help making your website reflect your personality a little bit more and make more money and attract more ideal clients for your brand, I would love to chat with you. You can click a link in the show notes to book a consultation call. No pressure. We can have a chat, see what you're looking for and how I might be able to help. Thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you next time. And that wraps up another episode of Website Design Made Simple. I hope you found the insights shared in this episode valuable and takes you one step closer to creating a website that attracts more of your ideal clients and builds your brand. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a minute to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or a rating on Spotify. Your review will help us reach more small business owners like you who are ready to make more money with their website. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.